Go, Barry.
Alrighty, gentlemen. Good evening and welcome to the YouTube Model Builders monthly live show for October 17th, 2015. And yes, I got it right this time. So just remember, YouTube Model Builders here is your source for free model railroad resources, such as our free online magazine, our weekly Tuesday and Thursday night hangouts, and join us monthly here for the live show. So, next slide there, Johnny. Start talking about our big build contest. So, everybody remembers our big build contest. It's hosted by Eric Hall of IMRRO.com. So, the goal was for everyone to build a model railroad structure, put your build on YouTube in 3 videos, and you could be eligible to win great prizes. Well, the contest officially ended on September 30th. We have done our judging, and everybody is going to get to see the winner of the contest tonight. And now we'll start going over our topic for the evening. So tonight our guests are Andy Crawford, Rav Hunt, John Rietveld, Ron Pare, and Eric Hall, who is not here right now. He may be in later. Our topic is it's brisk weather now. It's hot cider blowing, and we're all working our layout. It's going underway. So come on in from raking your leaves, and we'll talk about modeling. And we'll answer anybody's questions tonight. We're going to have the folks on the panel talk about things that they're working on now. And so we should be having a fun evening. And then about halfway through, we'll get into revealing the winners of the YouTube Model Builders Big Build Contest. So what we'll do is we'll start with reviewing all the final models of everybody, showing what they all were, and then we will announce third place, second place, first place, and our honorable mention. So I wish everybody good luck, and we're ready to start answering questions as soon as we introduce our guests here, Johnny. So if you want to turn off the share, there we go.
Yep, got it.
So
all right.
We've got a few new guests here tonight.
Yeah, and I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Johnny Reb, Southeast Trails, and Mr. Bill is under the weather, couldn't make it tonight. He called and asked I take over, or cover for him tonight. But our guests are Ron Pare. Did I say that right, Ron?
You're the first one to say it right.
Thank you. I've watched a couple of your videos.
Awesome. Thank you very much, actually.
Yeah. We got Mr. Rav on the panel, too. He's a new one. This is his first time in the show, so if he gets a little nervous, don't worry about it. We'll calm him down. Then we have Mr. John. I'm sorry, I have a hard time pronouncing your last name.
It's Rietveld.
Rietveld.
Oh, okay.
Okay, thank you. And we also have Mr. Andy Crawford.
Howdy.
He's in here tonight. And, of course, we got Barry, our IT guy. Keeps us all up here on screen, hopefully. Keeps us going straight. Like Barry said, we're getting into the modeling season again. So, what are you guys going to be starting out on as you're getting back into the train room again? John, why don't we start with you?
Well, I'm trying to finish up some scenery that I was working on with my hill on the one side, and getting the trees and foliage all put into place. I just posted a video tonight on that, getting that done. And then I have a couple more structures I want to put in on the Pella side of my Des Moines Valley Railroad, and just finish that stuff up. And then want to dive in full head force into weathering and start weathering start with some freight cars, and then move on to structures and all that kind of thing.
Also, John, while you got the mic, could you kind of give us a little rundown on what scale and maybe about how big your layout is?
Yeah, it's HO scale. It's a kind of a long L-shaped layout in the center of the room. It's about 42 feet long by 15 feet wide, and it depicts the kind of a freelance railroad of the Des Moines area. There was a railroad that came through here between Des Moines and Ottumwa, and it was abandoned about 25 years ago or so. And so I like to pick up a history that what would have happened if it wouldn't have been abandoned and if it would have stayed functional, operational. So it's kind of fun to dive into that, create a history for it, and kind of run the trains and kind of do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. What, John?
Oh, I said it's been fun. It's been fun to kind of delve into the history and just create the history of this layout as it would operate today.
Yeah. Okay. Rav, you want to kind of introduce yourself, what your layout is, what scale you're modeling?
Yes, well, I guess as you all see in the background, I have a HO scale shelf layout. It's about 16 inches deep and roughly about 18 feet long, I guess if you count all of them. Right now I'm in the process of getting a track plan set out because I'm thinking about making a 2-level, lower level bin for my sons so they can, play and not mess up, I guess, the top shelf. So that's where they spend most of their time right now. So I'm in the process of doing that. I guess as you see, I'm also working on my backgrounds and stuff. And so possibly I'm going to be expanding it a little bit more. Right now everything's kind of been on pause. I haven't really messed with the layout for, I guess, the last week or so. Did some running of the train today, but that was about it. And I have a building that's a background building that I'll probably start working on here pretty soon. It's supposed to be delivered sometime next week. And I'm also doing a little bit of weathering to my cars and putting some safety stripes on those. So it's a little bit of what I'm working on now. So
yeah, that's good. That's good. What since you've been doing that, I mean, do you have any particular thing you really like to do? Weathering, scenery?
I really like the scenery and the weathering also. That's been interest of mine. I'm thinking about ordering a book, I guess, to help me with the weathering, just kind of perfect it a little bit. So I like it to be, I guess, exact, just like the prototypical ones.
All right. Well, if I can make a suggestion real quick, Ron Pare and Andy both over here have some good videos.
Okay.
Do well to watch those.
I'm always checking out videos on YouTube of how everybody weathers their cars. Since I'm new to the hobby, I'm about 2 years into the hobby, and I've been enjoying it ever since.
Yeah.
No,
How long you been in, John?
What was that?
How long had you been in?
Well, it's kind of a two-part. I had layout when I was in high school going into college, and that was back in the 80s, early 90s, and then stepped away from the hobby for a while, and then started this layout in 2011. So since then.
Oh, okay. Going pretty good. Andy.
Sure. So I want to back up John on his point with the history part of the thing. I think that's the part that I've kind of fell in love with. Is I consider myself as a prototype modeler, and I'm recreating. I've focused on a very small section, just about 15 miles. I'll have about a scale 6 miles, 300 or so feet of main line around the walls with a peninsula in a 15 by 15 foot room, 4 decks that I'm building now. It's But I focused on a 15-mile section of track, and I'm actually aligning my track work off from Norfolk and Western Historic Society drawings. So I'm actually trying to exactly duplicate track alignments from the Norfolk and Western's track alignment diagrams from 1950. So I have to say, just like John said, his interest in history has been growing. I've become kind of fanatical as almost a historian of sorts. And I've been doing some scenery here lately because it's real easy to come home after a long day. It's been 15 minutes or 2 hours or whatever I feel like doing, just randomly doing something. Come home with a bottle of Mod Podge gloss that I hadn't played with yet and build some mud puddles. It's just real easy. But my goal going into winter is to heavily focus on these bigger projects that I've been somewhat putting off because they're so intense. So I hand lay track, and in a kind of peculiar way with glues and tie plates, bolt plates, and all the small detail parts for all the track and turnouts. And that's a really big project to come home and work on for 15 minutes at a time. So my goal for the winter, as we get into having much longer periods of time, is to is to have those days off where I can really focus and get a lot of work done and put multiple hours into something, and hopefully I will get pretty far on my track work over the winter. But that's the essence of what my layout is. I'm not terribly far along just yet.
Yeah. But I do know Andy's favorite part is scenery.
It has become, but I'll tell you what, this is my number 12th layout or so. I too took a break in my adult years, and I'm coming back to it. But this is like number 12 layout for me. I had quite a few when I was younger, and they were all plywood Pacific because I was afraid of it. I'm an engineer at heart. I'm a technology and IT guy by trade, electrical engineer by classical training education. So I tend to do things like that: electrical, track work, structural, mechanical things. And I was scared of scenery. So this time around, I laid enough road beds, stuck a stick of flex track on it so I could run a train back and forth, and started doing some scenery and building trees and building buildings. Another thing I'd been afraid of, building laser scratch building, to force myself to do the things that I hadn't ever done. And I found that that I greatly enjoy it, and I was always scared of it before.
Yeah. Hey, Mr. Ron, I saved the best for last, really.
Thank you. So my name is Ron Pare, and I'm a custom model builder. And what I've been working on lately is I'm just going to break from tradition here and share a few photos. Why not? So I've been working lately on...
that's a great picture there.
Yeah. An HO scale diorama, which is about 2 foot by 2 foot with a bunch of downtown deco kits. Can you see these pictures?
Yes. Let me give them full screen though for everybody. Okay.
I've been working on some downtown deco kits. As you can see, this picture shows a lean-to on the side of the building, and it was made out of like tissue paper that you find. You know how the wife puts all the presents in the bag and puts that tissue paper in the top of the bag? Well, that stuff, I spray painted it with nutmeg and then made this little, built this little tent. So that's what I've been doing lately on this one.
Yeah, that looks good.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's amazing what an outdoor light would do for a photograph. Then I've been working on this layout locally in my job, and it's been turning out really well. I love to point out to people that you look at this picture, and it's hard to notice the plastic fence that's running right through the front of the screen. You know, usually these plastic things, they stick out like a sore thumb, but when you detail a scene, you know, with a good amount of detail, a crappy plastic fence like that going right through the front of this picture disappears.
I tell you, the first thing that caught my eye was the cornfield.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a lot of fiddly work on this thing, but I just like to point out that that's one of those plastic fences that you turn, like I've seen people turn their nose up at and basically crush it up and throw it in the garbage, you know. But it's sitting here loud and proud, and you'll probably see this photo in a magazine someday from the client that I'm working with. He's an exceptional artist himself.
Now the white fence there, Ron, was that a scratch built or just another plastic one again?
That was that's a scratch built from some homemade white pine.
Okay. Okay.
Yep. So we're working on those, and that's about it. Ooh, here we go. how do I fix this again?
Go back to the other screen share.
There you go. And we go back to the screen share. There we go.
Are we sure?
Yeah, now your camera went all blurry.
Okay, we're back. I broke from tradition there. Lastly, I've been working on the trains for kids model railroad for a hospital, and that's working out fine. I'm gonna have a couple of videos coming out soon showing how that's coming along.
Oh, okay, because I'm with the NMRA Piedmont division, and we did a train layout for a local hospital here.
Right on.
Yeah, it's built in a big case with just push buttons on the front, so every time they push a button, something activates. As a Christmas circus scene.
Ha!
So,
right on.
Yeah, we had the carousels and all that, had a trolley running back and forth in there, and a O-scale, O27, goes 2-rail, running around the base of it. You know, they go in and they change a few things. Spider-Man makes an appearance every now and then, climbing the high-rise building that's in there, stuff like that. But the kids have seemed to really enjoy it. So.
Right on. I'd be keen to find out more about that, just to see how it turned out or how you guys built that.
It turned out good. We did that about a year ago. And,
cool.
It's been in the hospital. They did have to move it one time, but we had it mounted on wheels so it could be rolled.
Yeah.
All I had to do is unplug it and be able to roll it. It's pretty free rolling.
Seems like exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Hey, Ron, can you keep your camera focus? Because you're kind of blurry there.
Yeah. Well, while Ron's doing that, we do have a question here from Mitch Russell. I've fallen into the mall train funk. Not feeling it lately. Have any of you had this happen, and how did you get back into it?
Oh yeah, that happens to every one of us. I mean, you get frustrated over something that you're working on, it's not turning out right. One of the ways that I've done is kind of design the process that I'm going to use building my layout around that concept. So if I come home and I feel like doing scenery, this section of module over here I can do quite a bit of scenery on right now. And then this section I'm laying track on. This section I'm doing basic landforms as I progress around the layout. Whereas a lot of people go through a layout, they build all their bench work, and they get burned out on doing bench work. And then they build all the track, and they get burned out on doing track. And then they do these steps. I'm not like that at all. I'm just progressing around the layout. And one of the ways that's helped me get into or stay out of a funk is I have totally different things I can work on, from wiring to track work to scenery to whatever, just totally depending on what feeling I'm getting into. I mean, that's one way that's helped me, is having some diversity.
Yeah. How about you, John?
Well, for me, I get into those funks every once in a while, and I just switch over to operation. To me, it's just a blast to run the layout, whether it's just running it to watch the trains go by or operating in that switching and using the car cards, waybills, whatever, switch lists, if that's your preference. But just being able to run the trains and operate them as fairly realistically as possible, and that puts me out of that, when I'm in that funk, that gets me a kind of a diversion from that. And then when I roll through an area, they go, this looks like it could use a little bit more detail or whatever. Then I kind of put that on my list, and next time I kind of feel like it, I'll work on that area. Sort of like what the other gentleman spoke of is doing different areas of detail. And so if there's an area that doesn't have the detail that another one does, I'll just bring it up to speed, up to that level. So, yeah.
Rav, have you ever run into that yet, or?
I was kind of feeling it the other day, I guess, as I'm waiting for this track plan to get done. I haven't really ran trains as much since then. And my sons kind of keep me in, keeping things busy, always wanting to be in the train room and kind of, plan on the layout. So they kind of keep me out of being in the funk. And I'm always, trying something new. I built some fences, scratch made over the summer. As you all saw, I guess, in the issue in the September, the E magazine, I built some scratch fences. And here a couple weeks back, I did some handrails because I got tired of the plastic ones bending, and I decided to do some metal handrails on my trains, and I think it turned out pretty well. It was my first time. I was nervous about it, but I think it turned out pretty well. So,
Ron, you've been around for a long time. You have a suggestion or two about the funk?
My answer goes along the theme of everybody else's. You know, have a bunch of things. You know, things down the pipe that you can do if you don't want to do it. Sometimes though, and I kind of reading into the question here, you know, maybe it's not that you're in the funk because you don't like what you're working on in the hobby. It's that, you know, you're losing the ambition to be in the hobby. So for that, I would say try to find your passion again. You know, if you didn't have a passion, if I didn't have a passion for this hobby, I wouldn't be doing it, you know, all the time. You know, so maybe try to find out your prototype, go research a little bit more, or take some photographs if that's what pushes you. But you know, try to, you know, reignite that flame. Is my
Rail
advice.
fanning. Rail fanning.
Yeah,
Get out there and do a little rail fanning.
exactly.
Look at the scenery around the train that you just took a picture of. D&S Railroad put up here, join a nightly hangout group. That should get you back into working on the layout, because we do have hangouts going pretty much every night, and somebody's doing something. D&H is one of those. He's in scaler, and here lately he took some buildings that he'd already built and went back, just started adding details to them. You know, roof details, wall vents, and sidewalk details, you know, benches, trash cans, whatever on there. So, but let's see, I think we've got another one. All right.
And I'll second the hangout thing too, because I will say that it has both motivated me to move much faster, because everybody else is building stuff and I get excited about what they're doing. It has been a big encouragement, and it's probably kept me. Okay, I know it's kept me more excited and invigorated longer. It has encouraged me to build more layout faster, spend more time on it, and you know, it's cost me some money, sure, because I've spent more money. We joke about that all the time. Who's costing who money tonight? But I have moved along a lot faster because of being in the hangouts and the social side of the hobby, which I really, really value the social side.
Yeah.
I can answer that question, Andy. It's Broadway Limited.
Yeah, they are getting the vast. They have got the vast majority of money. That is true.
We got a new question up here from Northwest Rail Fan. Is anyone excited for the new scale trains company? If so, what do you hope they'll make in terms of rolling stock in the locomotives?
I don't think they've announced anything yet, though, have they?
No, they have not.
Nope, it's a totally blocked right now.
They were at the NMRA show, and they said that the announcement was going to come in November, I believe.
Yeah, I thought that's what I heard too. So anything anybody wants to see?
I'm looking forward to it. You know, like more people in the hobby, more competition for cost will drive down price maybe a little bit. That might be a pipe dream, but
no, that is a pipe dream, Ron.
But you know, the more the merrier.
Well, most of the companies coming out, Exact Rail and Tangent Models, these high-end guys with these high-end details, that are the new companies that are starting out. Price is not the target, is to compete on price, but the level of detail that we're getting from these new, small, cottage industry companies is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I would like to see a vendor come out with a line, maybe even a line of kits for something that's not like $25, $30 a car, but with a sufficient level of detail. You know, because I mean, you start trying to buy a fleet of cars at $30 a car, that can blow your wallet apart. You know, I mean, and even Ather and Blue Box kits, you go to a train show, they're $7, $8 a piece, and the dang box has $1.98 on it. Okay, I mean, the pricing in this hobby has gone a little bit overboard.
I know, Barry, I shouldn't have done this, but if you notice at the top, since your dog was barking there.
Well, not now, they weren't, no.
Huh?
Yeah, they weren't barking that.
Earlier.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I just now able to get this out there just to, yeah.
Oh, okay.
One thing that is improved in the hobby, though, while the prices went up a little bit, you know, years ago when I was in the hobby and you bought an Athearn Blue Box or a Roundhouse, you bought metal wheel sets and possibly trucks. You bought KD couplers. You spent an hour shaving grab irons and putting grab irons on it. You know, you had to touch up a lot of things. Coupler cut bars and all that stuff that you had to buy. Now you go buy a model from MTH for 15 or 20 bucks, not the exotically expensive stuff, just a $20 kit. It has separate grab irons, it has metal wheel sets, it has KD 158 scale couplers or whatever. It's, you know, it's done, and you've got to figure your time as being worth something too. So I really like these $15, $20 cars that are ready to run that I need to slap, that I just need to slap some weathering on. It really helps me get my layout moving along real fast, and the quality.
And that is a good point, Andy.
I agree too.
There's a balance.
I agree with Andy. You know, like you used to buy a car and you'd have to, well, not have to, but a lot of people would upgrade it with a whole bunch of stuff with an added cost on top of it, so it's not as cheap as you bought it in the hobby shop already because you want to upgrade it. And you know, we're getting these cars today and they're coming with these suggested upgrades in the box, and you know, I think it's a good thing.
And your time, you've got to figure your time as being worth something. Time is my biggest shortcoming. I'm not wealthy either necessarily, but time is my biggest shortcoming. I have an involved job that takes a lot of my time. So taking an Athearn Blue Box and spending 4 or 5 hours to get that thing anywhere close to up to par is just very difficult for me to do. So, but I do think we have the balanced trade-off these days. There are Bachmann still making, you know, relatively inexpensive cars. There's MTH making kind of middle of the road, but they still have metal wheel sets. And then you've got these guys like Tangent that are just, and Exactron stuff that are unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. Walther's Train Line has metal wheel sets and is a low-cost version, you know, and you can really go all out with super detailing those. You could cut off their molded details and replace them with these, you know, grab irons and stuff like that. So if you wanted to go cost effective, Walther's Train Line is, you know, an entry level price.
Yeah, that's the one I recommend to people as a beginner level is Walther's Train Line.
Yeah, and Rav's over there holding his hand up going, well, you can scratch build the handrails like I did.
Yeah, I saw somebody put some details on one of their cars as far as using metal, as far as the wiring and stuff, and I thought that was pretty interesting. I guess me being new to the hobby, you know, I started out with cars that were, you know, ready to run, you know, out of the box. So I guess for a newcomer, you know, I think that's probably the easiest way to kind of get into the hobby. But, you know, I guess on the other side of it, as far as the scratch building, you kind of learn, you know, the trade of the hobby and, you know, understand, you know, how these cars are built. I know as a kid I used to like taking stuff apart to see how it was made. So I think that's a good trade out, you know, to be able to scratch build some stuff.
Yeah. If y'all pardon me for a second, Barry.
Yes, sir.
Can you
Yeah. All right.
when they get through talking this, just run the next question because
Absolutely, sir.
I got Boogie just for a minute.
All righty. So currently we have a question from our friend Philip Wyman. It says, and this apparently looks like it's being to John and Rav. Being new to the hobby, everybody is more than willing to tell you how to do stuff. But how do you tell truth from BS? And why is prototypical so important?
Okay, the BS question is really easy. The first thing is, if you get 10 of us together, you'll get 11 or 12 opinions on stuff.
Oh, yeah, exactly, yeah.
It's not necessarily BS, it's what works for us.
Yeah.
You know, and the way you tell the BS is experiment. Buy you a $2 Tyco car. If you want to figure out how to weather and you're worried about who's BS, buy you a $2 car and do one side with one technique and the other side with another technique and filter out what's BS for you.
And you can also, like, buy an inexpensive diorama kit. You know, Woodland Scenic sells little diorama kits to try scenery techniques on. Heck, put two pieces of boards together, put some cardboard strips up, try and build yourself a mountain, just to play with it. I've got several little modules that I practice techniques on, and heck, my whole American Flyer layout is that I'm practicing a totally new technique for me to do my scenery base that I'm deciding whether I want to do that in my HO layout. Now, what
Yeah.
about you guys? I mean, Rav and John, I mean, have you ran into this situation? And, I mean, obviously, John, you seem to think prototypical is a little more important to you. But what about you, Rav? Are you interested? I mean, is your track lane being leaned towards a prototypical railroad or just your railroad?
Well, for me, because of how the room is kind of laid out, my track is kind of freelance. I did off the top of my head. I kind of did some research on Google just as far as like pictures of how people did layouts and different things, and I kind of modified the track plans of some of those things and kind of built my own thing. I'm interested in the prototypical, but I don't know if that's going to work for the amount of space that I have. But as far as like deciphering between the BS and the truth, I just do a lot of research. I experiment, just trying different things. I think that kind of weeds out. You try to see what's best for you, and at the end of the day, from the conclusion of what most people say, it's yours. You know, just enjoy it because it's yours.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. So
Yeah. Excuse me.
Go ahead, Don. Go ahead, Don.
I echo what Ron said because, again, even though I strive for somewhat prototypical, it is fairly freelance because I just take elements of what was on the line and then enhance from there. So if you would drive down those particular areas, there'd only be a couple of landmarks you'd recognize. Oh, that looks like something on your layout. But again, it's mostly just for fun, just to create a various mileage of that particular railroad and just have fun, kind of just what it would be like, in today's world. But I agree in that I like having certain areas that I can experiment on. And if I do pick up an idea on YouTube or from a magazine, I like to try it in that particular area in a small space and see if it works for me. And if not, what's nice about the scenery is you can just rip it out and put it, put something else in there that you like, and there's no harm done, and you've learned something in the process. So yeah, I agree, and we're all in it for the fun, ultimate.
Okay, Kyle. Interject another question, or are we still on the last one?
Andy or Ron, I mean, do you guys have any comments on that one? Hey, go ahead, Ron.
I'm good.
Okay, all right. Take it away, John.
All right, sorry about that. This is from Jennifer. Hadn't heard or seen you lately, girl.
Yeah.
Hope you're doing well. Is there any part of modeling that you gentlemen don't want to do, but do it anyways because you feel it must be included?
Oh, of course. All kinds of guys complain about wiring that don't like that and things like that. The reality is, to build a model, you have to become somewhat of a historian, a little bit of a carpenter, an electrician. I mean, there's all these skill sets that you need, and you're not going to love all of them. But some of them you have to, muscle under and man up and figure out exactly get what has to be done. And now, if you don't like electronics, you may not go overboard with signaling systems, et cetera, et cetera. But there's a little bit of that has to be done to build a layout in here. We all have to do that. The only way around that is to join a club or have a bunch of other guys, and hopefully your interests will spread out enough that they'll do your wiring for you.
Yeah.
I say scratch building with wood and stuff like that. It's one of the most challenging tasks because you have to be really patient, and I say it's not necessary anymore because you look at how these cardstock buildings are being printed out and used on layouts, and it's just like amazing detail on like a totally primitive model. Basically paper glued to cardboard. You can't get more primitive than that. So it's not necessary to scratch build anymore, but that is something that I do just to really get fulfilled from the hobby.
It does. It is kind of soothing to me. Like sometimes like this, my friend Mike did this little wood bridge and a set of plans, and I started building some stuff like this, and it's kind of interesting to do that, but I'm building from actual plans,
I
not
have
out of
that
my
kit.
head yet.
I have that kit.
Do you?
Yeah. Black Bear.
No, I don't think that's from Black Bear. I think he built that from a set of plans that he got from Hunterline,
Oh, okay.
if I remember right.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a hunter line too. They had
Well,
that.
they have a bunch of those queen post bridges, and I built a S scale one, a 30-footer before. And it's
Yeah.
really interesting building them from plans like that because it's not that hard, you know.
Yeah.
Especially if you already have the drawing.
Phil also said, "Thanks, guys, for great info."
He's quite welcome, always.
And I agree with Andy as far as the wiring. That was a task I tried to avoid for the longest, but in order to get some electricity to the tracks, it had to be done. So.
What about you, John?
Somewhat wiring as well. I mean, I enjoyed doing the wiring of the track and the layout, but I'm wanting to run the trains at night, and I'm wanting to do a whole new thing with a night scene, and that like quadruples the wiring to structures and street lights and all that. So that's going to be a monumental task when I take that on. I've gotten the street light part done, but the structure lighting I haven't started yet.
Yeah.
LEDs.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
You go buy yourself those $10 15-foot strip reels of LEDs from China on eBay. Got them in 3 LED chunks. You can light all kinds of buildings with them things.
Yeah,
It's like the,
yeah.
it's like the old saying, once you've gone LED, you'll never go back.
Nice, Johnny.
I think the other thing is the replacing the light bulbs to LEDs in these locomotives. I think that's the other thing that most people don't want to do. You don't want to have to take the shell off, but those atom bulbs just blow out. So.
Does it ever look good when you put an LED in it, though?
No, the bulbs just look better right now. They really do. LEDs last forever, but especially I'm a steam modeler, and LEDs do a horrible job of recreating that particular type of lighting.
Might want to try that transparency paint. Like the yellow.
Yeah.
Might try that paint over the LED.
You were talking
about turn signal amber. Yeah, to me, a turn signal amber.
I know Vallejo. I know I pronounce that wrong every time. They have a number of transparency paints out. I noticed they did have yellow, green, red.
Yeah, the yellowish ones definitely warm it up, and especially if you go with a warm white, you can get diminishing. But also lower your voltage on the LEDs a little bit by using a bigger resistor.
Right. They're getting better about that. I mean, the LEDs that are coming out these days, especially the ones that are targeted to model railroaders, have done a lot better job of recreating amber. Like, you can get the signals that have a much better, used to, the signals that you bought from whoever, NJ International or whatever, they were green, white, red.
Yes.
Forever that's what they were. They are doing a better job.
But Johnny, Jennifer mentioned something here, said she's been gone for a long time because she had a heart attack back in July.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, Jennifer, we hope you're getting better now.
Yes.
Take care.
I know that feeling. I had one in 09.
Wow.
Okay, we got a question here from Jim in Michigan. It seems most of the styrene building kits are geared for the 40s and 50s. Why do you think the manufacturers aren't making these kits with the 2000 years in mind? Because they want you to scratch build, Jim.
I think a structure built in 1890 still looks the same today. So when you say a kit comes out for the 1940s, maybe it has signage and detail parts that go around it that would depict 1940s. But the only thing that makes that building a 1940s building are those details and signage. If you update the details, you update the year of that model.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, you could probably take an older model like that and just kind of update the windows in it while you're building it instead of putting the windows that were originally in that building, change them to a more modern looking window. You know,
Put an air conditioner in the window.
Yeah, hey
Yeah.
Johnny,
the
your
roof.
camera cut out.
Yeah, the roof details is one of the distinguishing things to make an older building look modern. If you want to bring that out, roof details change a building considerably, especially from the average viewpoint that we see our layouts from. But there are some manufacturers like the Downtown Deco that has
Andy.
first-class buildings.
Yeah, Andy, hang on. What was that, Barry?
Your camera's cut out, Johnny.
Yeah, I had turned off for a minute.
Okay, all right, no problem.
I'm good. I'm good to go. Go ahead, Andy. Sorry.
But you've also got some first-class companies, Downtown Deco, which are somewhat older buildings, but they are building models that are meant to look like they're living in today's world, and Monster Model Works. I mean, those are two exceptional companies that have come out relatively recently that are showing, are building buildings that are relatively for today, and etc. So I think the guard's changing a little bit, and you have to focus on that because it really seems like I model the transition era, which used to be horribly popular, but it seems like a lot of people are modeling modern these days.
Yeah, and that's why I'm surprised that the building manufacturers haven't kicked it up some, because so many of the hobby companies are producing modern rolling stock and modern locomotives now.
Yeah.
And less of the older style transition era stuff.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time finding certain things for my 1950s layout. I mean, vehicles, actual vehicles, unbelievably difficult, and it didn't used to be. I think a lot of the newer people coming into the hobby are doing modern, and a lot of manufacturers are either focusing on modern, especially with rolling stock, or are headed there.
Yeah.
Another thing you might want to look at too is the fact that, look at the area that you're modeling, because if you're not doing a big city but a smaller town, a lot of times you don't really see more modern buildings in there. Like where I'm at here in Georgia, some of these outer towns from outside Atlanta, they are modernizing, but we do have some modern buildings around here. We're getting into more of the 5-6-story buildings, but we still got a lot of the old buildings, the 2-story, single-story buildings around. And like Ron was saying, of course they've been modernized. They've got the rooftop air conditioners on them, stuff like that. They don't have rope ladders sticking out the windows for the upper floors.
Yeah, it's like a brick building built in the 50s is probably still in use today.
Right.
Like Ron said, change details and stuff. I mean, so what, John, you said you're modeling like 50s era, so.
Yeah, what I do is I just modernize the signs a little bit more, actually.
Right.
We do a Radio Shack, on a building and some of that stuff, even though they're gone now. But, for the 80s, 90s, where I mostly model, those were, in fashion at that time. And there are some manufacturers coming out with modern. I know Walters just came out with the Dairy Queen Grill and Chill, which is a fairly modern building. We have the old style and the new. I got the old style that I want to put on. But and then Summit, I think there's a Summit manufacturer that makes a lot of the new fast food and those kinds of places as well. So if you look around, there are some manufacturers making more modern buildings. You just have to look.
Well, a lot of the cottage industry manufacturers, like I was mentioning too, are coming out with these modern buildings. But a lot of the reason that the 1950s buildings, there are so many of those kits around, is you've got all these companies like Campbell and Fine Scale and all these various manufacturers building kits. They've been building the same kits for 25 or 30 years, and 25 or 30 years ago, the 1950s was the absolute era that people modeled. So they started building those kits. They built dies for them. They manufactured them, and they're just still manufacturing them today.
Yeah, but the thing is that when you look at a kit and the picture on the front of the box, thinking outside of the box is that, you look at that picture and you say, oh, that's from 1934 or 1950. What could I update on this picture to update the model, and, printing your own photograph, like your own pictures out, like for your signage, new signs, just do that one little thing to, change the model, it totally upgrades it. So I think that these companies have been building models that are multi-era specific. We just haven't been looking at it that way.
Oh, yeah, you can take a storefront and swap out the old wooden doors for metal screen doors or solid glass doors with metal frames.
That would be a kit.
Wood windows with a more modern, like aluminum style window. And simple things like that is probably what would have actually been done.
And there's so many detail parts around today like that. I mean, the number of windows and door diversity that you can buy. You know, used to, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, you could buy 4 or 5 different models from Tichy, a few from Grant Line. That was your choice. Now, man, you can buy this plethora of just various doors, small detail parts. The level of diversity in that market has exploded.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know I had asked a while back to some people in the different Facebook groups when I traveled to Pennsylvania over the summer. It seemed like most of the buildings kind of resembled the buildings that I saw up there, and you know, it was still kind of like the, I guess as they put it, the Victorian age, you know, style buildings. And you know, I was like, around my area, I don't really see these buildings, so it was kind of difficult to, you know, figure out which buildings would fit on my layout because of, I guess, the style of buildings that's out there. So I'm probably gonna have to start learning to scratch build some stuff, which I'm open to doing. So
there you go.
I want to interrupt here and say I got a few little comments here. I'm not going to post them. I'm just going to read them off. One's from Marie. I'm going to have to get you, girl. Johnny, I have never heard once you've gone LED, you never go back. How can I incorporate LEDs on my bar train? Marie, for those that don't know, she's wanting to design a train to run up and down her bar to deliver drinks. So,
that's it.
I mean, that on a movie some time ago. Arthur or something, remember that? Didn't Arthur on that movie had one on his bar or something?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, maybe you're right, yeah.
Yeah.
I've got one question posted up here if y'all ready to move on. This is from Dave Durbin. Hey, he's from right here near me, not too far away.
Oh.
He's here in Georgia. I'm all HO scale and wonder what is the best way to paint my rails, airbrush or paintbrush? What color of paint would I use? I have asked 5 or 6 people, and I have got 5 or 6 different answers. What is your opinion on this? I run code 100 track, and he's from Atlanta. If I might right here just real fast, I'd say, you know, if you've just starting out or whatever, you might just try painting the rails, so that way you don't have to mask it off to keep the paint off the top of it. Just use a paintbrush, find a color that's close to a rail brown. For me down here, I would put a couple of drops of red to it just to give it the illusion that you got a little rust starting to pop out, because that part of the rail is not being used, being on the web and the base of the rail. There are paint markers out. They're already rail brown. You could use those. People said they've had good luck with that. And now I'll let the experts give their answer to this, and I'll start with Ron.
I like to use that camouflage paint, spray paint, for as many tasks as I can because it's super flat. And hopefully you haven't laid your rail yet, but if you spray paint the whole if you're using this plastic rail, like microengineering or something like that, I spray paint the whole rail, top and bottom, and then come back and wipe off the top of the rails with a block of wood or something like that to slightly clean off the top of the rail. You let that dry. That should be all you need to do to your rail to get it onto the layout and get you through to the very end. Like, the only reason you need to touch that rail again would be for super detailing, in my opinion. And that's all I do to rails. Spray paint it and let it rip.
Yeah, this is the color he's talking about too. This is that, my lighting's not perfect, but this is that camouflage paint. I just paint my rails before I stick them down, but I just spray bomb them with get that Rust-Oleum camouflage paint, which I'm absolutely in love with. Greatest paint in the world. Feels
Great
like
stuff.
it dries in the air before it gets to what it's going to.
Ha.
How about you, John?
I've been using the markers. What I ended up doing, and I should have, this is one of those things where I should have done if I had known when I was starting the layout. I did the main line in just regular, the silver rail, and then I did all the sidings and spurs in the micro engineering that's already weathered rail, and I really like how that comes out. That micro engineering weathered rail looks really nice, and I wish I would have done that with everything. But the main line, I used the non-weathered rail, so I didn't have the foresight to spray paint it with the neat camo paint that I see a lot of people using. So I've been after the fact trying to get the markers in there, and it's tough to do after you've got ballast down and everything there. But I'm still working little sections at a time trying to get it covered. But if you can, if you don't want to do all the painting and stuff, I do recommend the micro-engineering weathered rail. It's only a couple bucks more for a flex track 3-foot stick, and I think it's worth the money.
Raph, have you weathered your rails up yet, or?
Yes, I have. I'm sure you all saw me step away. I want to go grab the can that I have, but I use the Tamiya's color.
Okay, yeah.
It's the red brown. That really turned out pretty well. I actually have to buy a new can, but that turned out really well. I thought, it gave it real good detail. Also bought some of the, I guess, rail pins too, to kind of give it some fine detail. But the Tamiya paint really works out really well.
What did you clean your rails with, Raph?
I used, well, after, I guess, while it was wet, I, used something hard, and I also have one of those kind of like rubber type rail scrubbers. I went over the rails with that, to get it clean so that it wouldn't mess up. Because I saw it on a video, I guess on YouTube, somebody used the same exact paint, and I used their same methods, and turned out really well. I really enjoyed it.
Cool.
How about you, Barry?
My rails, I have not had to weather on my American Flyer layout because they are naturally rusty because they're steel rails. But I plan when I do my HO layout to use some form of spray paint to spray the rails. I don't know if we'll use a rattle can or an airbrush, but I like Ron's idea of just pre-painting everything and then put it on the layout. That makes a lot of sense to me because I remember going back on our club layout, like John said, I got 117 feet of rail, and now we got to go paint the rail. It's not fun.
I would probably steer people free of. You probably should not pre-paint flex track. That tends to not work very well. You typically have to put it down and then paint it because of the bendability of it.
Okay.
But and some people had good luck with it, some people not. But the micro-engineering flex track I use is not conducive to pre-painting.
Because that's a very hard track to bend compared to, say, like Atlas.
Yeah, it's a little trickier, but it holds its rigidity, which I prefer. Plus, I love the detail on it. The only thing I do addition, I'll back up his opinion of the Tamiya paints. Everybody raves about that Tamiya rail brown color for weathering. I've seen a lot of people on YouTube do that, and it does look exceptional. Something I do after I bomb mine with this can of spray paint, however, is once it's down and I ballast, is that I'll come back with weathering chalks and weather mine to get the right detail. So I'm really just trying to get a master coat, but that Tamiya color is exceptional.
We got another one up here from Todd, Western Transfer Freight. You are the experts, so I have to ask, what is your most expensive mistake? And I know Ron is.
Oh, yeah, he's probably got the doozy.
I don't want to answer that one. But I tell you what, let's start with John.
My most expensive mistake. Well, I did buy a locomotive once from a train show that ended up not working very well. One of the wires had come apart inside, and every time, it was one of those little switcher locomotives, every time it would hit a frog, it would just stop. Even though my frogs are all electrified for some reason, it just didn't like it. And So I think just because one of the wires on one of the set of the trucks came off, and I tried to solder it back on, and it just created a mess. And so I basically had to pitch the locomotive. And so that would, I don't know if it's a mistake for buying it, I guess, because my better judgment would have said just keep going.
How about you, Rav? You made any yet?
Um, let's say I've taken up this layout probably like 5 or 6 different times, and I have put ballast down early on, so that's been somewhat of an expensive mistake, and just I guess changing it. I'm always wanting to do something new, so maybe not doing the track plan early on, just kind of freelancing it. I'm always changing, so that's turned out to be pretty expensive, and trying to tone down.
One thing a lot of the people are saying in our regular nightly hangouts is once you lay your track down, you've done your plan, you got your track down, you put in your buildings around, don't ballast it.
Yeah.
Let it stay down for anywhere from 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
Run your trains over it. That way, if you're going to make a change, you can. It's a lot easier. Like you were talking about, you don't have the ballast down or anything like that.
Yeah.
Plus, if you have any hiccups, there's a couple guys said, they were glad they didn't do any more other than lay it down because they started having switches, giving them problems, turnouts. And they had to go back and replace or rework those turnouts in there. So
the thing I've liked is using the nails instead of gluing it down. That way I can change it and not have to pry the track off of glue or anything. So.
Yeah, always spike it down, and that way it's easier to take it back up when you do your ballast. Pull your spikes up then.
Yeah.
And once the ballast is glued, that track's going to stay there.
Yeah.
And you won't have those nails showing up, especially if you're doing rail fanning, pushing the camera on a flat car in front of your loco.
Yeah.
Filming that way. Because those nail heads do show up bad. They're worse than my chrome dome. Which I keep forgetting to do like Bill, turn my head down every now and then, Yeah, I got to start clapping my hands, too.
There we go.
You can also use actual spikes like people who hand lay track do. Buy a bag of those from Microengineering and lay your track by spiking along the outside rails of your flex track. It'll still look great, but will be nailed down and will be changeable versus popping them in the center of your ties.
That's a good idea.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Here we go. I got another one here. Here's one from Mr. Joe G. Haven't seen or heard from him for a little while, but I have seen some people ballast. Well, what, Ron?
No, waving to Joe.
Oh, okay. I have seen some people ballast under a switch and some don't. How careful do you need to be, and how do you do it when placing ballast under the switch so it won't bind up when the switch is thrown? I'll throw this out to anyone.
You got to be careful doing it. I do ballast under switches, but I will oil the moving components so that the glue doesn't stick to it as bad. Also, something I haven't seen other people do is that I'll use some thin CA a little bit on ballast so that it doesn't pop loose under moving parts. It's more rigid. But again, you've got to be under the points. But you do have to be really, really careful. And the easiest way to get around that, in my experience, is to oil all the moving parts, glue everything down, move them some while the glue's setting up too.
I'd like to point out that I've been to a bunch of layouts that I look at the switch and it's all ballasted all the way down the line except for that one spot, and it's only looked out of place maybe 1 or 2 times. So if you totally avoid putting the ballast there, people don't pay attention to it. Like there's ways, like it disappears on you, and that headache's out of the, it's taken care of,
Well, what do you think about maybe using a little bit larger? I mean, if you're using a fine ballast on your rails. Some people will put kind of a medium ballast down first for a base, but then they come back and put a finer ballast on top. If you just put a little bit of fine ballast, not actually fill it up right there at the switch points of the throw bar. What's your thoughts on that, Ron? You think that might work out just visually, so it does look like it's got ballast in there?
Yeah, yeah. Or even putting a little bit of color in, like if you're using ground foam or your grass, getting some kind of color in there. You don't have to fill it up, like Johnny said. You just get something in there so that your eye sees something. You don't really have to go all out there. It's a
Yeah,
good
because
idea.
Road bed. Another good trick is if you're especially using cork or whatever home salt, whatever road bed, paint it gray, paint it the color of your ballast.
Good job. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, because you only talk about 2-3 ties right there anyway.
And I would generally recommend painting your road bed anyway. Especially homicide is a good idea to paint or seal. But if you'll slap a coat of paint on it, it'll let you get lazy with your ballast.
That's step number one for every project I have, is getting color down, because you wouldn't believe, you do this one spot in your layout, and all of a sudden you look at it and you can see the base coming up like a half an inch through, and you're like, well, how am I going to fix that now? When you just had color down on it, you would have never noticed that you did that,
Yep. Plus, it lets you get satisfaction from the layout quicker. I hate seeing these layouts that are covered in white plaster for everywhere, when somebody could have spent an hour slapping paint on that and totally changed the dynamic of the layout.
There's another way. There's another way, Andy. Do it like Dude did, and put purple lighting in your room. We used to love looking at this purple mountain.
Yeah, there's a few ways to skin that cat. I'll grant you, but I back Ron up on this. Right away, whatever process you're doing, laying road bed, put color to it. Put some scenery up, put color to it. Get the, maybe you don't get the texture, ground foam, dirt, etc. down, but whatever you're doing, get color on it as soon as possible so that it's something close to what you are expecting it to be.
It improves everything psychologically, and psychologically, if you're on the right side of it, your ambition will push you through the project. So very important.
Oh, Johnny, it's now 11:02. I say we want to go like another 15 minutes, and then we'll start looking over the people who submitted entries for the big build, and then we'll announce the winners. And then
Okay, you want to do that?
Yeah, if you want to now, we can go over the giveaways one more time.
I started there and then I went back. You got me running everywhere. Why did I do that? Oh, I know why I did that. I'm having a berry night.
Yes, I told you it's contagious, man.
Okay, let me get my screen share.
Just bring it up to the first giveaway slide, then turn on the screen share. There we go.
Whoops.
There we go.
All right.
So here's our first giveaway. Here is the road striping kit from Highways and Byways. Our friend John Howard. It's a pack of vinyl stripes for your model railroad. And I'm sure you've all seen these used on Gino's originally Central City belt line, now the Birmingham belt line. So I'm sure the winner will enjoy these. And then we have our ever-popular punch plate bridge kit from Central Valley Model Works Incorporated. It's a 150-foot punch plate bridge kit. Like you see there, we can get it in HO or N. And it's from Central Valley Model Works at cbmw.com. And then our great friend Bob Lacey is providing a 6-pack of HO or N scale handmade oak trees from Long Shadow Model Trees. And our friend Bill Brillinger at Precision Design Company is offering HO or N scale joint bars. And check out his website, pdc.ca. A lot of great products he sells there. And finally, we have Dave's Decals, models, decals, and stuff. You get your choice of 2 different decal sheets. And if you pick the winner, you just have to go to davart.net, and you'll get your set of decals you want. There we go. like I said, we'll do about another 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then we'll start showing off all the models, and then we'll announce our winners, and then once that's all concluded, we'll look to do our giveaway.
I will do that 11:15. I got 11:05 right now.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we'll do 11:15. Yep.
I've got another question here that's usually not asked too often.
Yeah,
This
that is a good one.
SMX, Scott McDonald. Scott's question is, when doing power lines, what color would you all use, and do you all still use the copper lines in the old time?
Yeah, I like metal wire. A lot of people, the old school way was to use thread, and I don't really like that look very well. If that's what he's referring to, right? Am I on the right track?
Yeah.
Yep.
Thread moves around, so if you have air conditioning in your room, it's kind of blowing around. It gets kind of fuzzy looking, especially over time. It's hard to get the right slope. I like actual. I have a really, what is that, micrometer, whatever. It's that wire they put in.
Nichrome wire?
It's a whatever. It's really, really small. It's like 34 gauge wire on a little bitty spool, and they use it.
Kind of like magnet wire then.
That's the wire I'm talking about. They use, magnet wrap wire. That's what I like myself. And you can get it in copper if that's the color, if you're trying to recreate that. I have it in silver, and it does work pretty well with the photo etching or the black etching chemical that I use for like etching detail parts to black. The microengineering rail etching color is not bad, and it etches. So you can throw some of that in a glass vat, pour a little of that etching solution on it. 15 minutes later, pour water over it. You got black wire, and it'll be black for a long time.
There is a company that makes wiring.
It's straight.
The name of it eludes me, but it's kind of like fishing line. It has a spring to it. So if somebody was to reach out, it would flex with them, but it always comes back.
It's got easy line. Easy.
Yeah.
That's it. Easy line.
I haven't tried it, but it looks great. I've got it bookmarked because I keep thinking I'll buy it. It does look really good.
I've got some stuff.
And it works nice.
I've got some stuff from Sierra Scale Models.
Yeah.
They've been around for a long time, and it looks like fishing line. And but what you use is not the debate. Do you let your wires hang or do you pull them taut? That's the debate I have.
Yeah, usually you need to leave some kind of slack in there, just like the.
I kind of like to pull it straight now. After a while, you get frustrated that you can't get a nice drop in the line, and it looks unrealistic when you can't get the drop in the line right. So pulling it straight kind of makes it look more realistic.
Yeah, residential areas especially, because you'll see they don't have that much droop in those.
I'll tell you what's hard. What's really hard is when you're running 7 or 8 lines across telegraph poles. You're going to get that same droop in every one of them. That will make a man pull his hair out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
So that's what happened to my hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ron's trying to catch up to me.
Yeah.
Well, I know, like with Rav and John, I mean, modeling more modern times, they could have less and less of that because most modern housing developments, everything all use underground wiring now, which is nice. But I do like the look of overhead wiring, power feeds to buildings and everything. It has some interesting appeal to it on our layout.
Yeah, I had thought about venturing and putting some wire up, but I just haven't decided whether I'm going to do that yet.
Well, take a look at that Easy Line product. That looks really nice.
Yeah, I'll try it out.
Now that's one thing I notice on layout is if I'm seeing telephone poles and no wire, that a lot of people do that, but absolutely put the wire up. Just don't do it very early on in the process.
Yeah.
All right, we got another one here, getting kind of back into track detailing. Beata, have any of you painted concrete ties, or do you just buy the brand ones? If so, what do you use to make the concrete color?
I've never painted them, but just weathered concrete from Scale Coat. Oh, actually, Scale Coat. Are they available? Is Scale Coat available anymore?
Yeah, it's poly scale and flow quill that's not available.
Yeah, there's also True Color too that has aged concrete. I mean, we have a little bit of concrete ties on our club layout because we have a section of the Amtrak Harrisburg main line on there, and it uses concrete ties. So we bought the Atlas concrete tie track, and it works. It looks pretty decent, you know. Probably could use a little bit of weathering to tone it down some, but it doesn't look bad.
Testers did come out because everybody was complaining so much about them shutting down polyscale and flow quill. They did come out with a few railroad paint colors on their line, and believe concrete was one of those colors. I have not tried it or really looked at it. So
the two colors I mix for concrete is tan and light gray. You put those two together, and you get you at the right consistency. You got a weathered concrete color.
Yeah, most people think concrete's gray, and I absolutely agree. If you're not putting some brown in your concrete, it won't look realistic. Mm-hmm. It's got concrete has sand in it. I mean, it's lime and sand, so gray and brown together is what the real world's doing.
Just real quick, Muskoka, Steve, when you're using the magnet wire, how do you get the hang naturally without kinking? Of course, we've already talked about it. Like Ron said, just kind of pull it straight.
Well, I've heard actually, I'm working on this Rapido layout with Cantonary, and I heard if you charge the magnet wire with I forget was it a 9-volt battery or something like that, you can get that wire to straighten out a little bit more. I don't know if that'll help, but it intrigues me.
I was waiting on you to say to hit it with about 2,000 volts, but
hammer it with plug it into the wall.
Might not be with us anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zip going. And you hit that with 2,000 volts, you're gonna see a flash and a bang, and it's gone.
Oh, that wire would pop like it's nothing with much more than 9 volts. Honestly, it's not gonna hold much. It's and I will say, getting that droop is rather difficult. But what I do is mostly leave it straight, put my little kink right where I'm gonna lay it over the telephone pole, and then start tacking my glue in, and then I'll just slowly work my finger to try to work that out. It is not fun. It takes a really, really long time.
Yeah. All right, we got another one here. FKLENDA, because I can't pronounce that. I am wanting to build a Helix. I have been looking for information on bench work and how to start the building one. I cannot find anything. Where is the best place to go for this info? Thank you, Frank.
Local club.
Yeah, some places build a Helix because there is 50,000 ways to skin that cat.
Yeah, there's some YouTube videos out too. I've never built a Helix. I'll say that right off the bat. But from everyone I've talked to that have built a Helix, the most important thing is to get that first turn. Once you got your incline set on that first turn, the rest of it's just a repeat as you go up.
But I'd also tell you to watch the YouTube videos because there's a couple predominant techniques using the threaded bolts, rods, which is what I'm going to use on mine, or using the little blocks. There's a couple techniques, and I would go watch some YouTube videos and get a feel for which one of those is more approachable by you. I like the threaded rods because they're adjustable. Yeah,
well, I like the block idea is good too, but I think it makes the Helix a little wider because you have to have the blocks under the road bed, sub-road bed. But you can get very precise spacing that way. You get, like Johnny said, you get your first turn set with all your clearances, then you just bang off a bunch of pieces of wood, and now you cut every piece of sub-road bed and you got perfect spacing. But the adjustable rods, you can get hangers that go on the wood, the rod goes through it, put 2 nuts on it, you make yourself a gauge.
Yep.
You know, make one block that's got the right spacing, and then just adjust each set of rods as you put it in. Might be a teeny bit more work, but I think it gives you a little more control over it.
Yeah, and you can adjust if things expand and contract. See, I built my first one with blocks years and years ago, and my biggest complaint was I did a block every eighth of a turn around the thing, and reaching in there to clean track or something was much more difficult. And I'm in favor of the threaded rods right now for because of that reaching in and getting access to it would be better.
So you plan to have a helix on your layout, Rav, to connect your two decks that you're planning, or?
I'm probably the way I'm going to go is build a cassette to transition, I guess two different ones. The space that I have is not conducive for having a helix, so I'm probably going to go the cassette direction.
Yeah,
It's really
cassettes are good.
popular in Europe, for example. The cassettes or even the elevator or whatever, really cool. And if you're going to run relatively short trains, that totally works.
Yeah, they're going to be rather short due to space. I'll probably have about 7 or 8 cars. It's not going to be big loads.
An idea, Rav. Check around when people are remodeling their garages or whatever, or yard sales. See if you can pick up a garage door opener. I've seen some videos where people have used garage door openers for the elevator style, which doesn't take up a whole lot of room. Where you're talking about using the cassette, you can mount that on the elevator. Yeah, be really cool. Sit there with a garage door opener. I hope you don't open your garage while you're trying to raise your train or between layouts. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to look for one of the ones that uses the worm gear rather than like a different kind of drive. Because the worm is a really great way. I've seen elevators you can buy that uses that same kind of motor.
I probably should have got it from the houses that were being rebuilt from some fires, I guess, last year.
There you go.
I could have got one of those, but I wasn't thinking about it.
Yeah. Pacific, North, Central. I know this is a burning question for him. I know Andy's got a good answer. I want to hear from John and Rav and Ron on this one. But his question is, what is a good stain for ties when hand laying? The only reason why I kind of left Andy out, not to be mean or anything, but Andy talks a lot to Pacific, so.
Yeah.
I don't hand lay tracks, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't know either. I haven't hand laid yet.
Rod, it got past to you.
The thing is you want a stain that's going to last a long time, and a lot of stains out there in wood will degrade over time, so it's important to get the right stuff. So you have to get an oil-based stain of some sort, and sometimes so what are those stains?
Minwax.
Minwax.
Minwax, but if you want a product from within the industry, Hunter line has a line of stains that'll last a long time, and you can
they have a creosote color that would look
a number of different flavors and colors in their line, which will last a long time. I know a lot of high-quality modelers promote their stuff.
This whole thing here was all done with Hunter line stains.
Yeah, but then going back to what Andy was saying, Minwax, you can tint Minwax to do whatever you want, really.
Well, yeah, you can mix different Minwax together. Now, if you want a really dark stain, they have one for Jacobine that is light creosote color.
Yeah, that's what I use, is a combination of that ebony and a little bit of this lighter walnut.
Yeah.
And I do use Ron's trick. Let me thank him for that, of the still wool and vinegar. Yes, and I do the thing that he says he doesn't do, is I let the stuff just turn into toxic waste over months and months and months. I've got a fresh jar and I've got a toxic waste jar that you should really stay away from because it's eating through the lid of the jar. But it has a rusty color to it that is irreplaceable. It's rusty.
Yeah.
Well, it's 11:19 now, guys. So do we want to start cutting over to looking at the candidates for our big build contest here? So let me bring up my screen share here.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You got that part, don't you?
Yeah, I have all the pictures here.
Sorry about that, Barry. I forgot to look at the time.
That's all right, man. I'm keeping on things too.
Hey, I'm new here.
So here we have. Do you have it up on the screen, John?
Oh,
Yeah.
you do now.
All right. There we go. So here we have our entry from, I think it's Mate Mogoyo. It's a small scale house that was totally scratch built. All individual boards. He glued up the wall sections. He built little scale inside, little brass details for like the doorknobs. He had a hatch inside for the access to the scale mechanism, a little desk with a cup of coffee on it, things like that. So this came out to be a very nice model.
Excuse me,
Yeah,
Barry. Are we sure that we've got the full screen up for everybody? I see.
I think so.
Yeah, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
presenting to everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see it here on my screen. So
Can you see it now? Now, Ron?
yeah, you'll
No.
select me, Johnny, if you can, just to make sure.
Yeah, you are selected.
Okay.
Oh, hang on. Never mind. I'm sorry. My bad.
There
I
we go.
screen shared the wrong one.
Okay.
Okay.
Right on.
Everybody's looking at my ugly mug, I guess.
Yeah, me. The only comment I had is that during his videos he didn't really show actual construction. It was all slideshow type stuff. But I mean, in the end, he came up with a really nice model, in my opinion. I mean, what do you think, Ron?
I think that sometimes it's really hard to build models and take video at the same time. I'm totally aware of that. So the slideshow doesn't bother me at all, and the results that we're looking at right now, they look great. The coloring looks awesome. There's variation in the coloring on the wood. I love that green color. I think every single model railroad structure should have that color of green in it, and the sign is nicely done.
Yes, absolutely. Let's go to our next one here. Stupid banner out of the way. Okay. Okay, where is it? Ah, there it is. So the next one here is from Joe Geraci, good old Joe G. This was a kit that he put together for a police building. He did a lot of nice detail work, put a little bit of lighting on it, different, curtains in the windows and such. And he told why he put these green LEDs. That there used to be police stations that had these green lights out front of their building. So I think overall he did a pretty good job with it. The only thing I found wrong would be just some gaps in corners and mating edges, which seemed some of the guys had that same kind of issue, and it's easily corrected. It's not that big of a drawback. But what did you think of this one, Ron?
I like this one as well. He did a real good job with the mortar lines. It's all very consistent. I can see that these modelers had a lot of fun with these buildings because they actually they put lights in it. Like I think the contest kind of encouraged these guys to do a little bit more to the model to make it pop out, and that probably improved their modeling a little bit. And I just like this model. I really liked it.
Yeah, it's a
I
very
like
nice
the window treatments. There's window treatments on it that there's some of the blinds are down, some of them are up. Really nice model. I'd like to see it on the layout sometime.
And he even included his railroad logo in the. He must have the railroad offices for the railroad police in the top right corner there.
Yeah.
So here we have Brian Odo's movie drive-in.
Totally.
He did a nice big diorama. I was unable to get a good shot of the entire scene, but he has. This is I think it's the Walters new Skyline drive-in. So he had the whole big Art Deco screen on the right side here. But he did a lot of nice details in the scenery. He had a nice light up. It looked like a Miller Engineering sign out by the entrance. That's nice blue lighting by the ticket booth and lighting inside the projection room and the snack bar. So he did a pretty nice job on this one.
All these modelers, you know, like each one, I like something different from each one. And this one, you know, he added the scenery to the model, you know, like,
Yeah.
and it's something that we remember from when we were kids and stuff like that. So he also, that's what I like about it. So he also added lighting to the model. It's nicely painted.
And in this video he showed, when he was showing a video on the screen of the old like ads from the 40s and 50s on the screen. And I kind of like this particular because the Delsey Drive-In is 5 minutes from my house and it still runs, so I can go there anytime I want to see a movie.
Yeah,
And
there's one close to me too.
Same here, about 20 miles away.
Yep. Alrighty. So then here's Aaron Adams. He did a really nice job on this. It's a DPM kit, and he did a pretty nice job on it. Nice detail in the mortar and everything. A little more subtle, but it didn't do too bad of a job on it.
He did a great job on the mortar on this model. The only thing I wish he would have done was the mantle on the front, on the top, and maybe add a little bit more color to that. I felt it was a little paint was left out, but he did a really good job on that mortar.
Absolutely.
And I know that is one that's kind of like a ballasting track.
Yeah,
You know,
I agree
a
with you.
lot of people avoid doing mortar because they're afraid of what they might do to it, to the model. But my advice is hit it with the mortar. If it gets too much, just have a Kleenex ready and you know, dab it up and try it again. Let it dry. Try another coat. Each coat will get darker and darker and darker as you go.
Less is more approach to take.
Yeah, more step. Like you do it over and over and over again, as opposed to getting it done in one step.
Yeah, you get it done in one step. What can happen is you'll get sections that look great, and other sections, the paint's now dry, and you just can't get it off. So now you have like lighter white spots that look like it's confused or stuff. But yeah, overall he did a pretty nice job in this. There again, some spots in mortar was a little heavy, but not a whole lot. There was again some open seams, but nothing terrible. Let's try the next one here. So this is Robert Van Oyen. He took the Walters Ford Motor Company assembly plant and super detailed the heck out of this thing. Full lighting in the back in the shop area. He did a full office interior details in here, and the building in the back's lit. The offices are not because it's nighttime. The factory's working, so there's a receptionist in the lobby, but the people in the offices are going home for the day. So, and you got a lot of nice roof details. I mean, fit and finish in this was excellent. I mean, it's hard to see from this angle, but did a really nice, beautiful blue color on the seam siding back there, and it came out really nice. He actually had to alter the wall here to raise the loading dock door because it was meant to be where you would have a depressed well for the truck to back into. So he altered it to be a street level dock instead. He did some amount of kit bashing as well, the interior walls and everything. So.
This is the model that I like the most out of this contest. You know, there's certain things that I look at a model and I say to myself, I want to build that, and that inspires me into a project. And this is one of those models that I say to myself, man, I want to build one of those. That looks awesome. And you look at this picture with the lighting in the office area. It's lit in the back shop building. The back shop building, you know, there's so much real estate in there that, you know, like this is the model that he could take the roof off and not put it back on because there could be so much detail inside this
Yeah,
building.
I mean, he didn't have, he added some support structure and stuff, but he could have gone in and done a full detailed interior where, yeah, you're right, take off the roof work. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that doesn't detract from it because when you have the roof on, I mean, it makes a fantastic looking model.
But
And
okay.
it would look good on any modern layout.
Yeah. So the only thing that I didn't like about the model, because this is my favorite, I should probably say something that I didn't like about it. The rock on the roof is a little bit too substantial, and the texture, like when I looked at it, it could have been a lot of people go overboard with the size of the rock and stuff like that, and I think that the top of the model would have looked a little bit better if you used something smaller as opposed to.
You can notice it in this picture here, even.
Yeah, a little bit, but that's otherwise. This is the model I thought should have won this contest.
Here we have Philip Wyman's DPM kit that he built. A lot of detail was added into it. He really did a good job with the weathering on the mortar joints and such, added extra details like downspouts and such. The backside, there's a really nice fire escape. And a lot of roof details up here, vents and everything. So it turned out to be a pretty nice build. I mean, I didn't find any real flaws with it. There was just one or two small light leaks that I saw, but other than that, it was very well done. And things like the seams and light leaks, they're pretty easy to correct. You know, you can put a little putty in there, sand the corner down, paint, you know, mask it and spray paint and redo the mortar joint, and it's fixed. It's easy to take care of. So always when you've done your models, take them, especially lip, turn them around, look at them from all angles, see if you have any gaps or anything, and then just correct them, and that really makes a huge difference in the model.
Now this building was lit up too, right?
Yes, it was. Yes.
Yeah, and another picture shows it up nicely.
Yeah.
So this model we seen that DPM kit where the mortar was done real consistent. This model, the mortar isn't so consistent, and he could have probably done well to do a couple more treatments of the mortar on this model. But I like the detail that he's added on the back side. There's a ladder detail on it, downspouts. Lots of things that are missing on a lot of models are on this model. The lintels are painted. You know, it might look like a run-of-the-mill model at first, but when you look at it closely, you can see that everything that you should do to a model is done on this model.
Yeah, I agree with that, Ron. Yeah, so all these little missing details, you know. And they're not taking clinics on, you know, detailing your walls, you know, gas lines, power lines, meters, you know, downspouts, you know. It's a lot you can do that makes a huge difference on a simple model. Now here we have Jonah Hemingway, aka BNSF Guy 617. He did the Walther's yard shack and gate here, yard office, and he did a fairly simple job. The whole base here is filled in with, I don't know whether it was hydrocal or, you know, or joint compound or something to form all the road work. He did a pretty basic build of the kit, painted everything. Really no real weathering much at all. But I mean, he did a nice job assembling the kit. So I mean, I was pretty happy with the way everything looked. Because he's a younger modeler, so you know, obviously his skill level shows. But he did, for his age, I think he did a really good job. You know, it's not sloppily painted or anything like that. So
you know, I'd like to compliment this modeler on where he left this scene, because you know, all too often you'll see a new modeler try to hammer through to the end, and they'll do certain things sloppy. You know, it'll come through and you can't fix it. You can cover it up a little bit, but you can't always fix it. Yeah. And this modeler left this scene at a spot where he was comfortable with. You can tell that he doesn't want to weather too much right now, and so I thought it was really good that he left it at this so that he could experiment and move on from this point forward. So he did a good job. I like the colors. I think that if the concrete, like the parking lot was a little bit darker, the color of the building wouldn't look so, like it looks like it's in a shadow, so it looks a little real dark. I think that maybe bringing the color out of those buildings.
Yeah, that might do that, and you could add some striping and stuff into the like parking lot stripes and stuff, little things like that.
Yeah, visual details. Yeah.
Yep. And he did put a nice little feed. He put a EMD 567 prime mover back here. I don't know whether he talked about people will be working on it, but I don't think they'd be working on it by the yard office. But it could be sitting there waiting for delivery to the engine service facility. So, all right. So now we have Walt Falconer, I think is how you say his name. The Drover Hotel this is his build from Waltboro. And so he did a really interesting job on this building. He did masked window treatments on all the windows, and they're not all in the same. Like you see, this one's pulled to one side, this one's not, and he treated them all slightly different. He added this whole
marquee.
Yeah, the marquee over top of the door and everything. He added some fire escape details on the back. There's a water tank on the roof. Like this could be probably like the head tower for an elevator. So he put some nice details in the roof. And correct me if I'm wrong, this had some lighting in it too, right?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a couple flaws I saw with this that I'd like to point out. There was a fairly significant seam right here. It just was an oversight during assembly of the wall, but it's something that would take a little more work to fix. Just a little bit of attention to things like that.
A little bit of barge cement or something like that.
Yeah, you might have had it. You could probably open the seam up and fill it in and mitigate that. But the roof building here and the water tower are a little crooked. The water tower almost looks like it's about ready to fall off the roof. It may have been intended, but it's just something that I noticed. If he went for that look, that's fine then. Obviously watching the videos, we can't tell what his intention was.
Yeah, it's good to point out that just some small thing that looks unprototypical, like a tower almost about to fall off, you can't, it takes away from the rest of the model. So,
yeah,
the little details.
Maybe he should have put a note in there about that.
Yeah, well, that's if that's what he intended. We don't know that, but
you can't see it from this angle, but if we're looking at the model straight on with the marquee looking at us, you'd be able to see it.
Yeah, it tilted over to the right and to the back, probably 5 to 10 degrees, so it looks like if it was a full tank of water, it would have gone right off the roof. Well, like I said, it could have been planned that way, maybe it's an old dilapidated hotel, Doesn't look like it, but who knows?
But it's a nice model, and like you said, it's got the window treatments in there, and that's a fiddly job. Like you said, the seam was open, and you could fill that in with some. You even use some wood putty or something like that. Just put it in there. As long as it gets some paint on top of it, you're golden.
Yeah, a little squadron putty.
Squadron putty is basically what you would get at the hobby shop to fix that, though.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I like the fact that he scratch built the marquee and put a couple of lights in there. That really added to the model.
Yes, and then all the windows are painted. He did a nice job weathering the rest of the wall. So overall, it was a pretty good model.
Mm.
Now we have Todd Western Transfer Freight. This was just a small freight building. He did a fairly nice job with the assembly. Not much in the way of weathering on the walls. No real brick mortar detail that much. But the roof doesn't look bad at all. He had a few chimney details. So he did a decent build on the model. I didn't find too many bad things wrong with it. So, I'm okay with it. and that's from Todd Berglund, who's Todd Western Transfer Freight. My only thing was there was not an overabundance of detailing, like extra roof details, any signage or lighting. But the building itself was built well. The painting and weathering, what weathering he did was really pretty decent on it. So.
You know, that's the problem with these structures. Sometimes, you know, like like it kind of looks like a dull building, but it's a really awesome attempt by the modeler.
Mm-hmm.
It looks awesome. It looks awesome to me, but you know, it's the kind of thing that, you know, you're driving down the street and you see a particularly normal building. This is that building, and
Yeah.
Other models stood out because of you know, extra detail or stuff like this. But I can't say anything wrong about this model.
No, the fit and finish
It's a
of it
great
is
job.
well done. Yeah, absolutely.
The modeler did a great job.
Here is our friend Ray Bovell from the Bovell and Newtown Railroad.
Yeah.
He dug up, I think it was an old model power kit of this building under demolition.
Yeah, he destroyed it.
Yeah,
No,
he went out and he did great weathering. He repainted the base, painted up all the detailing, all the molding of the debris in the base, all the wallpaper treatments and stuff that came with the kit. He applied really nicely some spots where those actually were wallpaper. He had it peeling away. You know, there's sinks and bathtubs in there. He added some bracing to hold the walls up during the demolition. Nice job on the little construction shack here, or destruction shack, I should say. The only thing that I found wrong with it was the outside walls weren't weathered too much. They kind of had some pre-weathering in the kit, and it doesn't look like he applied that much weathering.
It takes a lot of work to get rid of that plastic look, you know?
Yeah, and the biggest thing is the interior of this thing looked to me to be a massive amount of work.
Yeah.
This plastic walls and all this stuff was sheets and sheets of, I don't even think they were stickers. I think there was paper that you had to cut out and glue on. And then he had all the extra details like, you know, the sink on the wall and bathtubs here and stuff. So there was a lot to fitting the interior of this building that makes it really look nice. And just a little touch of weathering, some powders on the outside, it will make an interesting piece on a layout.
Yeah. You can tell Ray has a lot of fun making his videos, and that's, you know...
I love the death. He's a goofball when he does his
videos. Yeah. It's fun watching his videos because of it, you know. I'm biased against this kit because I have so much trouble building plastic kits, and watching him build this kit, I had some stress involved. You know, so he did a great job, but I'm sick and tired of plastic kits, I'll tell you that much.
I understand. I mean, he looked like he had a good time doing it, but I'm sure fitting all this stuff in here gave him some stress along the way, too.
I agree.
So here we had Bernard Trim. So he was Shortline HO. He did a pretty nice job on this. This was scratch built.
Yeah. Well, you can tell in spots, but like...
Yeah. Here, this I think is an existing conveyor kit. But like he used model screws for all his conveyor pieces. He used the wire
coffee cans.
Yeah, a couple coffee cans. This is all PVC pipe. It's styrene tops and everything. And he scratch built this. All inside of here is all the conveyor and plumbing details that you can see through the windows. And same down here, he added all the nice details going into the car unloading facility here too. And he did a nice weathering job on it. It came out really nice. It's a fairly significantly sized model.
Yeah. And the thing is that, you know, when you're scratch building a project like this, you've got to find all these parts from your junk drawer and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So it takes a lot of time, you know, to collect that stuff, you know, like the straw is perfect for those auger tubes, you know. Excuse me. So I don't hold it against them for not having, you know, for not looking finished. But it'll take a long time for them to finish this superstructure.
Oh yeah, I mean you could go way overboard on this thing, you know. There's
It
a
looks
few little details like, and like there I know there's like a saw in here, the saw mark you tried filling in, but that could look like damage in the concrete because you know if the wall of concrete starts to crack and fall, there's a little bit of a gap here, but I mean overall I think his treatment and the layout of the components and everything and the overall build came out pretty nice.
my advice to him would be to take this model now and not have it glued down, and start doing your groundwork, your scenery around the model, and
Yeah.
to see if that will push your vision for the building of this model. You know, to do more out like exterior treatments to the silos and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
what I would do is I would bring in the train from the opposite end and have a stub out here, and then maybe put these tanks out on an angle a little farther out, give it some visual interest, you know. And that's nothing to do with the model, but that just would be something to do once you go on the layout, you know.
Yeah, I don't like square. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good point, Barry.
Now here we have Steve Geronix. His YouTube channel is Muskoka Steve. I mean, this is just a beautiful kit. It actually was a kit. It was two, I think it was Downtown Deco kits that he kit bashed together. He cut wall segments apart and joined them in different configurations. Like he shortened this wall to make the entry here. He modified these walls. This whole archway system here for the loading dock was he made a mold and cast it out of hydrocal. The same with the retaining wall in the front here. It's all cast out of hydrocal. He went the distance doing all the details, the landscaping, an old rusty van out front. And he had an interesting technique on the lettering, is that he masked it off, painted it white, put down rub-on dry transfer lettering, then painted the red and used masking tape and burnished it to peel off the dry transfer lettering. And I think it made the signage look really nice in this. But he added all these details like the rusty pipe straps and such. And I think overall this was just a fantastic model.
More than just the model itself, the videos were done really well, and
Yes.
we should commend or compliment Steve on the videos that he made, because if you watch all his videos, you'll learn something.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
and that's what we hope for in you know, when people are entering these contests. You know, it's not all about winning. Sometimes, you know, it's about telling people how you did stuff, you know, which in
Yeah.
contests you don't really find happening too often.
No, he did a great job because he showed every step how he cut the walls, how he made the mold for this and everything. He really did show off a lot of techniques that, you know, I learned something from it. So it definitely made me really appreciate this one.
It's the consistency of the model is what, like, this model looks 1940s run down. You're not going to find a job here.
Yeah, exactly.
From one side to the other side, and in the scenery placed down, you know, a lot of the models that we've already looked at, you know, those models could have been, you know, not that they needed to have the scenery, but you can see in this photo that the scenery really helped this building to pop in a way that those other buildings could have probably could have probably used that help, you know. So
Yeah, I mean, look how he did the street here with the concrete and asphalt peeling it. I mean, all that little stuff makes a huge difference. You know, this would look good on the background building on a lot of layouts. I mean, it's given me some good ideas for some areas where I could use a background building. You know.
Yeah, and if you look at the roof details, there's no pattern involved in it. It's kind of random and looks really good. Like it, I think it looks really good because of it.
Yeah, he really did. And then even the details here with the the balconies and everything, and the air vent coming out here.
The awning over the old store.
Yep,
That's
and
really nice.
it's missing pieces of the awning, all like corrugated metal and everything. So this one's a worthy model.
Yeah.
Here we have Philip McCallum. This was a fairly simple, as he put it, laser cut church kit. It's a model of a railway church, as he called it, in Australia. Obviously, you can see here it was a small black car type with benches for the railroad to bring its employees in and go to church. He did an amazing job detailing this out. He put stained glass windows in it. The stonework here he did with a paper stonework pattern, but he added the light there. He did the roofing detail. All this whole vestibule was built out from the kit, and he used the metal roofing and weathered it down and rusted it real significantly. Put all the gutter details, scratch built across on top, put a ballard on the other end, and then it just has a lot of interesting details. And even the dirt road here, he has a car he used to make wheel ruts and everything, and he had a worn footpath. I mean, a lot of little intricate little details in this model.
Yeah, this guy was really innovative with some of his ideas for adding the brick or the rock in the front and stuff like that. I always like watching laser cut builds, because it's so much easier to build with these laser cut kits, than
they are now.
We're so lucky these days.
Oh yeah, I mean,
go ahead.
You ever look at like one of Brent Gallups kits?
Yeah.
And literally, you get a construction plan and a stack of lumber. You want to build a wall.
Yeah.
2x4s, 2x6s, and siding, strip by strip. But in the end, you have a museum quality model. But are we all really striving for that in our layouts? This, I mean, so much simpler to do, and yet in the end, it gives you a really beautiful model.
Yeah, and this is another example of how scenery really helps the model to pop. If I was to give the gentleman some advice, over the years I found out that roads are really hard.
Yeah.
And putting those ruts into the road is a great way to add texture and undulations to the road. The dips and valleys of it. However, it's nice to go back after that first layer and to layer on another finer type of dirt, so it doesn't look like you're driving over rocks. You're driving over stones. Modeling is all about layers. So just because you have a nice rut in there, you can still put some finer dirt along the outside, and that could tone down the road to, not look so rough.
Kind of dust it.
Yeah, and I think that would improve this model if I was to add some advice. It's sometimes hard to find something to give.
Yeah. I mean, you're right, though.
About.
Like here, obviously these ruts were because the ground was soft or whatever. Say it was wet that day, you would get splash up out of the rut. So you're going to have, when that dries, you're going to have a finer material outside the road. Yeah. So you're right. I mean, adding that kind of little detail would add a nice little enhancement to this.
Yeah. Well, it's the same as Robert's building where I talked about the cinder on his roof. That's supposed to be stone. So it kind of looks out of place. It's the one thing that looks out of place to me.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
The rest looks great. The sign is nice, and it's nice to have all the added details in what, like, this church would look so dull without those.
Yeah, I mean, his rusting patches in the roof really look fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now here we have our last kit. This is from our friend Stuart Ross, aka Jimmy in Michigan. This is the courthouse in Tombstone, Arizona. There was, I think, it was a lifelike kit. It was originally made as a replica of the building. Um, he did a really nice job on assembling, no fit or finish issues with it. Um, the weathering is not there except on the roof because, the way he showed photographs, they tend to try and keep this building really clean because it's owned by a historic commission.
Yeah.
And he used to live around this building when he was a kid. And then there's nice courtyard details on here, a stair. I didn't show on the back side, but he has another courtyard on the other side. There's a, like right here, there's a full two-story bump out that is a two-story vault where they stored things. And then in the back corner over there, he got drawings. Actually, he got the curator of the building go out and measure the gallows for him. And he scratch built the gallows, hand tied the noose for the next victim, and made sure he had 13 turns in the noose. So he put a lot of little attention, did a lot of good research on it, and the fit and finish is wonderful on the model, and I think he did a really good job on it. The history really got me. It was an interesting history lesson on this building.
Well, that's what modeling is all about. You know, the history. He lived close to the model. I imagine this is one of those model builds that really quintessentially is what modeling is all about. You know, you build something from your childhood or you try to recreate your past. Andy was talking about, me and Andy were talking about painting the bottom of the, when you make a layout, the first thing you should do is paint the bottom first so that it makes it look good. You can see the scenery in this model again. It really adds to the building. And I think he did a really good job.
You can see here in the corners where the grass didn't stay, or you can see dirt. You know, you don't see a white styrofoam or pink or whatever under. You see dirt color.
Good point.
That should be the first thing anybody does on layout. A base coat of earth color, whatever. And here's where you can go to the extra detail level. Match it to the soil in your area.
Hmm.
You know, like where I live at in Jersey, we had down South Jersey, we had a lot of sandy soil, so something like this might be more appropriate. You live down in where Johnny lives, you might have that Georgia red clay look. You know, and some farm country, you might have really rich, loamy soil, so you want like a darker brown color. But that should be the first thing you put under your scenery. You know, and I did that on my American Fire layout. I chose a nice dark brown color, and I painted everything. And because I used the plaster over the surface, this vermiculite for texture, I thinned the paint down 50%, and it really got in and filled in all the nooks and crannies. And that's another thing, depending upon what your physical base is under it, maybe consider thinning the paint with water, you know, so it flows in and covers all your ground pretty good.
Barry?
Yes, sir.
I know the contest is over, but can I say one thing about Jim's build?
Yes.
And nobody probably knows about.
Sure,
This was a open box that he bought online.
Mm-hmm.
No instructions.
Yes, that's right.
On how to put it together. He had to go back to the internet and start finding pictures on this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And also, one thing that made it very difficult for him to build this, because it was an open box and it had been opened quite a few times.
Yeah.
A lot of those parts were kind of warped real bad.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
And he had to straighten them back out while he was building this thing, because I've been on hangouts with him while he was building this, and I think I learned one or two new phrases while he was building it. But yeah, I mean, I think he did a really nice job knowing what I knew about the build and what he had to go through with it.
And how many missing pieces were in that box? How many things?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. He really, I think he became a much better modeler by building the building.
Absolutely. This is one of, I think, didn't he say this was one of his first structure builds?
It is.
Yep.
So I think.
Yeah, first contest.
Yeah. So.
Well, they all get easier after this.
Yes.
But I think all the ones that y'all showed looked really good. Given their
Absolutely.
different levels and all, they were doing a good job. Y'all overall.
And so here's what we want to do. We've run a little bit over. It's midnight now. So I'm
Yeah.
going to go on the website and activate the giveaway page. So just give me a moment for that. And then everybody can go to www.youtubemodelbuilders.com. And on the top, where is it? You'll see the YouTube Model Builders Live. And then at the very bottom of that little menu is the live show giveaway entry form. So just give me a moment to get that activated, and I will give you the password.
Yeah, and I need to get back on the ball with my slides, don't I?
Yeah, just
Yeah, I've got
go
it.
to the How to Win slide, and then
Yeah.
we'll run through the giveaways, and then we'll announce our winners. Okay, get the shows. Episode 17, 10
All
seconds.
right. Hopefully everybody sees that.
Okay, the giveaway form is now active, and then the password for the giveaway is the word scale, all lowercase.
SCALE
Yes, sir.
MOUSE.
So, like I said, go to
Just scale. Just
just
scale.
scale. Go to www.youtubemodelbuilders.com and click where it says YouTube Model Builders Live at the bottom of the form. Click on the live show giveaway entry form. Fill in your information. Remember, one entry only, because we'll know if you do more. So,
Just to kind of add time, give these people get this filled out, Barry, if you don't mind.
yes, sir.
There are a number of questions still left, and honestly, we are not going to have time on this show because we're announcing the big bill winners and
Yes.
all that. We've still got several really good questions, a bunch of good questions, not several, but a bunch of them. We're not going to be able to get to, but hopefully y'all could come in either on a Tuesday night or a Thursday night show and present those questions there if you like, and hopefully we can get you some answers there
Absolutely. That's a good
on
point,
that.
John.
Also, there was a comment here for John. I wanted to get that to him real quick. Ray Bobel said, "Hey John, hit me up. Hopefully not too hard. Or or look at my YouTube page on lighting."
I will do that, definitely. Thanks, Ray. I'll check it out.
Give me a few minutes here to get my winners put together here, and then we'll go ahead and show them.
While you're doing that, I got another one here from Mark Turner, another good fella, even though he's from a southern state next to me. No, I like Mark. He's really good. Yeah, Chino likes him, so he's got to be pretty good. I
Yeah.
made a stain. I made a stain for a Crisso bridge. I used paint thinner and flat black paint, 50-50, brushed it on the wood, and it looks great. And a year later, it's still there.
Nice.
So if you're kind of looking for a Crisso look, you might try Mark's formula there. But I want to thank everybody at this time for all your questions and comments. We appreciate them. Unfortunately, we don't have the time to get to all of them. I did want to say Wisconsin Southeastern. If you get a chance, try one of the Tuesday or Thursday night hangouts. Your question was a good one, but we just don't have time to try and answer that one right now. I know, but
So we have a lot of good questions. A lot of questions too.
yeah, a lot of good ones. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do to Marie, though. Let her sit there and wonder. She knows I get a little devious.
All right, one more to go.
Another one here, Pacific North Central. I would like to congratulate all the maulers in this build contest. They were all wonderful looking structures. Looks great, everyone. Great job. And there's several other comments that go along that same line.
Absolutely. I mean, you cannot go wrong with any of these structures. They all did a wonderful job. And I mean, like same with like Joan. I mean, he's a young kid, but he really did a really good attempt at it.
Oh,
He's only
shit, yeah.
got to go uphill from there. So I mean, that's a great thing.
Yeah.
All right, Johnny. Whenever you're ready, you can set me up for sharing, and then I'll start my screen share.
I was just getting used to this.
All right.
All right, there you go.
All righty, folks.
We're announcing the winners of the big build contest, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
So, our third place winner here is Philip Wyman. As we said, he did a fantastic job with the detailing on this model, and we're very glad to have him in the contest, and he will be our third place winner.
Barry.
Yes, sir.
Honorable mention.
Oh, that'll come. We'll do that last.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah. That's all right. No problem, man. And second place, Robert Van Oyen with his Nedcar Company factory building. And we had a hard time deciding between this and the first place one, but he came in second. But he's done a fantastic job. We're very proud of what he did here. And then our first place winner is Steve Geronix, Muskoka Steve. I mean, this building was so wonderfully done. It's a little different than Robert's building, but Robert's building had so many nice, interesting details that we did have a hard time deciding back and forth, you know. But when we took in the overall, you know, how videos are done, how the buildings are done, this one won. So congratulations to Phil and Robert and Steve. Yes, and Ray had the final die of the night, I guess.
And I think Steve, the extra work that he did in his video really was the thing that made him win.
Yeah, plus, you know, taking the fact that this was all, he had to make a mold to scratch build this rather than making that. So, like some of the interior office details that Robert used, you know, because there he was able to purchase furniture, but he did all the wall details himself. So, slight differences, but they're both fantastic models. Phil did a great job in his building, so congratulations to all. And then here for honorable mention, we have Walt Falconer of Walt's World with his MT Arms Hotel kit. You know, we discussed some of the issues with this, but we felt that overall, with how he did the kit, details he put into it, and, you know, also we had to include some parts of the video. He did a really pretty good job overall, so he is our honorable mention among the rest of the modelers. I do want to note that out of the 20 people that entered, only 14 people submitted all 3 videos. Out of the remaining 6, only 1 submitted 1 video, so they were not qualified for the contest. But I'm sure in the future we may do something like this, so, you know, if you are ever interested again, you know, we have one. You're all welcome to join in again. So
I want to thank everybody who entered the contest. It was really, you know, it's kind of hard to make videos and get all the videos out, like for all the rules and the, you know, to qualify for the contest. But everybody who did enter the videos and did the model, they did a great job. And if you didn't win, don't worry. You know, I never win either.
Well, I'd like to say the same thing, Ron. You know, I think I'm going to congratulate all of them. They all did a fantastic job. It was very interesting to see all the work the different way people did. But I have to say one thing for Walt World. When he showed the last piece of his last video, there's actually 3 people that took to build the building and 3 people to videotape the build. Walt, Walt, and Walt, and Walt, Walt, and Walt. Rather interesting end to the video. Alrighty, gentlemen. So let me check the website here and see where we are with the people signing up for the giveaways. Left episode 17.
Well, while you're doing that, Northwest Rail Fan put a comment here. The method I used for mortar was really easy to do. I just a water acrylic paint mix applied with a foam brush.
Okay. That's good to know. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to do it, and that one did seem to work out pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so far we're up. We'll give another 5 minutes. We're up to 24 entries right now. So, but did you see how many people were watching tonight, Johnny?
We got up to 40 at one point.
Okay, so I'll give it a few
38
more minutes.
right now.
All right, I'll give him a few more, like another. Well, it's 12:11. We'll give another 5 minutes to get your entries in if you're interested in entering the giveaway. So.
All right, since we're doing that, Jim in Michigan, we were talking about weather and track. I'll just put this up here.
Sure, go ahead.
Jim's comment was, I'm here to testify the spray painting Atlas Flex before laying it is a real pain in the to bend. The flexible part of the ties are glued to the rail and really hard to curve to the shape you want it looking for. So, if you are using like the Atlas Flex track, it's probably a good idea to go ahead and get it laid, put it in the curve that you want it in. But like he says, that it does have one rail that's not attached to the ties. It actually slides, and when you paint it, it will glue it to those ties. And now you got to break that paint loose.
Yeah.
Especially on Atlas, you may want to go ahead and get it laid down and maybe approach it a little differently. Use a brush on it or something like that if you don't want to have to mask everything off.
And Jimmy mentioned here, Jimmy Michigan, about the drawing for the $25 gift certificate. That's the honorable mention. So
Okay.
there was no separate drawing for that. It was just, we would look whoever didn't win the top three, and that person would get the honorable mention and the $25 gift certificate. So that was given to Walt, or will be given to Walt.
I was also asked prior to this if you weren't watching the show and you won or something like that, but did that really matter?
No. I mean, we'll be contacting them. We have all their information, so we will contact them. Probably, Bill or one of us will get emails out to them, and then, get everything sent out to them. So.
I'm sure Phil Wyman's probably out in the backyard doing his happy dance right now anyway.
Absolutely.
Marie's sitting there going, no, I'm not married to him.
Oh, is that Marie's? Is that her husband?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. We'll give it a few more minutes, but we're kind of stuck at 24 entries now, so it looks like it's popping off. So is there any other... Here's a good... how about this question from Wisconsin Southeastern? Got it.
Wisconsin Southeastern, let me...
Yeah, so +6. What's the best way to make a turn with 2 tracks?
Yeah, I didn't know if you wanted to try and answer that one now, or... Where'd he go?
I can still say it, yeah. And maybe that might be something, if you want to do on like a Thursday night hangout. That would be a real good question for that,
Yeah, because I was looking at that. I really wanted to try and get that one posted up here, but that was going to be a little involvement since we're running a little late tonight. I hated not being able to answer that, but if he could bring it in on Tuesday or Thursday night show, it would be great to answer that one.
Absolutely, yeah. That looks, there's still some questions here, but let's see. It's 12:14. We'll give it one more minute to 12:15, and then.
Yeah. What slide do you want me to get up here now so that?
Oh, no, you don't need any particular slides to announce the winner because we don't really have a winner slide. But before we end the show, just get ready to bring up the credit slide.
Credit slide.
Yeah, it's the last one.
All right. I forgot to tell you, I don't have enough credit.
Well, if we hit 12:15, we just got one more entry in. So, all right, let me go back and pick our winners here.
Let me know when you want the screen share.
All righty.
And I'll stick you up there.
Pick winners. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
And let me go. And
you got to share, Ron.
All right. So we'll do this. Then we will flip over to here. You see that okay, Johnny? Share it?
Yeah, hang on. All right, you're shared.
All right, I'll pull up my giveaway notes here real quickly. I always put my giveaways in order in a text file. So, giveaway 1 is the Highways and Byways Road Striping Kit, and that will be an HO scale going to our friend Mitch Russell. The Central Valley Model Works Incorporated HO Scale Truss Bridge Kit is giveaway 2, and that is going to Ron Bryce, an HO scale. And then we have Long Shadow Model Trees as a third giveaway. Okay, and that is going to Aaron Adams in HO scale. And then the next one is Precision Design Company HO or N scale joint bars. That is giveaway 4. And giveaway 4 goes to Todd Berglund. And Dave's decals goes to our buddy Al Marr. So there are our winners for this evening, gentlemen and ladies. We will be contacting you to make arrangements. So, all right, Johnny, whenever you're ready to do your screen share.
All right, let's see what. Oh, if I do that now, boy, that thing's gonna go haywire, ain't it? Can't tell I'm from the south, ain't it?
Didn't say dang it.
I always got my hands slapped for that.
So here's our YouTube Model Builders Live team. I'd like to thank everyone here on the team for participating in the live show with Mike and Bill and myself, and tonight Johnny, occasionally Dude. And we have our Hangouts team with Dude Lindler, Johnny of Southeast Rails, Troy, who is taking a short sabbatical, but he will be back probably the first of the year, and Gino and my friend Mike Dettinger with me on the tech show. Then we have our great graphics team and EMAG team. JD, Logan Lopez, is our editor for the EMAG, and we have associate editor with Blaine Mayfield and Jack Hackaway and Harry Hawthorne as well, or Haythorne. And Christoph Collins is kind of new to the team. He's beginning to work on some graphics with us. And we're going to be working to maybe do some promo videos and stuff with Tyreek Sykes. So we hope to add him to our list here shortly. So
I wanted to, Barry, if you don't mind, Harry's wife has helped out too. So I think
yes, you're absolutely right.
She deserves a mention too.
Yes, she's done 1 or 2 graphics for the EMAG cover. I think it was the youth issue was one of the ones she worked on.
Yeah, because they were last minute too.
yeah, we were scratching the old head ball for that one, but she pulled it out, did a really nice job. So
yeah, JD was sweating on that one.
You sweat on the EMAG every month.
Yeah, that's.
It's just to put it out there. If anybody would be interested in writing an article on anything, any experience you have in the hobby, anything you want to share, please write an article and submit it to the EMAG. We'll be more than glad to publish it. If you don't think you can write, trust me, I can't write. JD can make you look pretty. He really helps out. So, you get the information to us, we'll get you published in the EMAG.
Yeah, he's got a great team working with him.
Absolutely. I mean,
Dude's got a good team too, not to be biased or vague.
No, he does, absolutely. But I mean, like Jack Ackley, he's only 16 years old. He does a fantastic job. So, you know. All right, folks. This call a late wrap for the live show for this month. I'd like to thank everybody for participating. We had a lot of great question and answers from the gallery and everybody viewing. We had our wonderful big build contest, which I'm sure in the future we'll probably have something like that again. That was an interesting thing to do. So thank you all for participating.
Yeah, I would like to also say thank you to Andy, John, Rav. It's nice meeting both of y'all. This is my first time actually getting to talk to y'all. Ron, greatly appreciate you being here. It's always good talking with you, even though I don't talk to you that often, but yeah.
Always a pleasure.
Do like your videos.
Thank
Hopefully,
you.
I got things halfway decent. I tried to keep the questions spread out across the whole board here for everybody.
Yes, you did a wonderful job. Thank you for helping out in the last pinch, Johnny.
Yeah, not a problem. I've always been the redheaded stepchild. Last one asked.
But you did a whiz bang up job, buddy.
Yeah. Well, congratulations to the Big Bell winners, and congratulations to the winners of the drawing tonight. And, well, Barry, we got any last minute here? Or?
No, like Bill says, we'll see you on the radio.
Yeah. Well, that's his line. I'm going to let him keep it. Yeah, mine is, this one's in the can, so.
Absolutely, brother.
Bye, guys.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you, thank you for submitting your questions. Sorry we couldn't get to all of them at this time, but we do have Tuesday night and Thursday night hangouts, so if you're capable of getting in there, both of those have the Q&A just like we do on the live show, so submit your questions there. Let's try and get them answered for you. We don't want to leave anybody hanging. With that said, like I said before, this one's in the can. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next month.
Yep.